My name is Oscar Garcia Johnson. I teach in the area of theology and Latinx study. I am the director of Centro Latino, or more formally, the Center for the Study of Hispanic Church and Community at Fuller Theological Seminary. And I am very excited and very enthusiastic in this certificate that we're doing for the people of God in a time that we need more than anything uh, an alternative and a different theological perspective, historical perspective, missional perspective, uh, in a way that all those help us shape I would say, the course of the society in which we are called to serve. So I hope that you put attention to this, set of ideas and models that we're going to be providing you, and you take advantage of this because as leaders, we really need to take advantage of this. Who is really giving us all this? And is I found very difficult to find places that are equipping the people of God with such a critical understanding of reality and such a skill set that are going to help us do better our job as pastors, our organizers, our people of God that is simply committed to transforming society in the right direction because another world is possible. How to give a reference to situations and problematics that we live in the present. That is something that historically, as Christian leaders and Christian churches, we have had difficulty with. Part of the issue is that it's like looking at an elephant in the room, so to speak. It's a medium. We hold of the parts of the elephant, and we call it, oh, this is our reality. While the whole other elephant, the whole part, all the parts of the elephant are still there. We don't see it. We're holding probably to a leg or tail or ear or whatever, and we call it, oh, that's our reality. That's our elephant, and we're calling, reality to just a piece of it. And so, what we want to do today is to provide, particularly the younger generation of leaders, colleagues that are working in the Christian environment, in a world system that is pretty much suffering from a colonial order, globalization, and with a sense of what we call white normativity, that needs a theological perspective, and that's what I plan to do today. This is not going to be as comprehensive as we might intend in a classroom, but it gives you some tips into how to give names to problematic and how to frame that problematic within a much more comprehensive model for understanding that problematic and a diagnosis that gears toward a solution. And let me start with a simple idea. And the simple idea is that most of our problems have to do with two items. What we call the world system and how God relates to this world system. And here we have, on the left hand, we have what I call human worth, and on the right hand, we have what we call land. So these are two concepts. Bear with me for a second. On the one hand, we have world systems that give, particular worth to some humans more than others, and define the territory in which those worthy human beings live. Therefore, you have land and human worth or human value. And the main problem, as I usually say, is not really the absence of God. The great theological issue we suffer today is the caricaturing, the impersonation, and the stealing of God's identity. It's calling our perspective a perspective that is fully biblical, that is fully endorsed by God, and calling the perspectives of others as perspectives that are not biblical and that are not endorsed by God. And when we do that without the proper knowledge and the proper process of biblical reflection and theological reflection and discernment, we get into a form of that pretty much seclude us into a corner and give us the seemingly authority to say what we do is the right thing to do and everybody is wrong. So again, let me repeat this. The greatest theological issue of our time is not atheism. It's not that. It is actually the opposite. Is the hijacking of God's name, is the caricaturing of God, is the impersonation of God, and the stealing of God's identity, that somehow we use it as our signature of authority in everything we do. And we need to be careful because traditionally, particularly in the Hebrew tradition, in the Hebrew Bible, the name of God is sacred. Nobody steals the name of God. Nobody, actually, the so-called 4 words, the Yahweh, it's a name that you could not even speak because of the reverence of that name. So, not to make an image on earth of what is in heaven. It's one of the sacred habits, so to speak, of the Hebrew people, and we have inherited that. So, pretty much impersonation and the caricaturing of God, it's at the center of idolatry and at the center of sinfulness. So, I hope that what I'm articulating here might be disruptive enough as to say, let's not pretend that the main problem is people who do not believe in God. It's actually we who believe in God and call God our own little caricature of God the main problem, because then nobody can tell us otherwise. We believe God is in our side and we do as we please.